Hi, everybody. Welcome to Fridays with Sue and Steph. And last week, you got the treat of having Stephanie surprise her friend. And this week, I'm back. Well, just the regular.
You're not even wearing your glasses. I did curly hair and glasses. I was getting as close to you as I could.
Last week?
Last week, I said I got a curly-haired, glass-eyed friend.
Yeah, so you almost couldn't tell the difference. Although
I pretty much thought you were. I actually thought it said Fridays with Julie and stuff. I was so confused.
Yeah. I'm losing my curl. I don't know why. But anyway, here we are, everybody. And today we're going to talk about prom because it's prom season. And it's an unusual prom. I mean, we could use all the words. What are all the words we've been saying this year? It is unprecedented.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It is extraordinary. It is people have to pivot. Anyway, all of those things are happening right now as the rules change by the hour. And so we just wanted to talk about like the idea of the promposal. And, I wish I had done some research. Do you know when that started?
I feel like it's in the last 6 years because I remember Zach doing it when he was in high school. And it was the first I had seen, I remember that hitting social media and stuff. And so I was certainly on social media before that. So that's.
Well, I guess if anybody on here knows when they experienced a promposal, like hearing about it, probably not firsthand doing it, but hearing about it, put it in the chat because we want to kind of see if we can get to the bottom of when did this whole, in my opinion, nonsense start?
Can I weigh in? Same.
What?
Can I weigh in?
Not to show our bias, because there's something also very delightful about your own experience with your kids and how, my youngest put a lot of thought into how he was going to do a promposal to his girlfriend. So there's something delightful and kind of weird about the whole story. But I did have to just text his girlfriend and say, how did he ask you? Couldn't remember. But it was balloons and a cake and flowers in a park, which sounds really lovely. I think that's actually more than my engagement proposal was for marriage.
You want to do over?
No, mine was by design. I was not into it. So my poor husband had to come up with something clever that would make his family happy and his future wife happy, which was not an easy challenge. So what's your promposal story?
So I remember Zach doing it. Sorry. I remember Zach doing it in 2015, which would have been freshman year. Ethan he didn't take a date. And Lane is taking a friend, but didn't do a promposal. So I don't know. I don't know if the pressure, is it higher or lower in COVID? I'm trying to think.
I'll tell you that. So what I've heard from kids is that they're really, really excited to have this experience with friends. They have been so deprived of their senior year social life that I think it feels less like a romantic opportunity and more like a chance to just be with your senior friends who you're going to say goodbye to, and you haven't had a year of going through all of those moments that we record of senior year.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think there is a big, and amongst Lane's friend group, I mean, that's it. Friends either not taking anybody, or they're just going as friends, or to me, it feels like the pressure's off is the feeling I have gotten, because I think they're kind of the whole time has been is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? So I think they're at the point where they're just so happy it's happening that, and I think they don't want to put too much faith in, it's almost like they hold back a little because everything has been kind of taken away at different points. And so I think there is, I witnessed that with her with just college and saying well, if things are still going like this, I may not do that next year. So I think there's a little holdback there. Because I've been disappointed so many times, so I'm not going to let you disappoint me again.
Yeah, well, it's
protect myself.
It's self-protective. It's smart, actually, because the whole year has been actually a year and a half for them has been disappointment after disappointment. And I think the smart thing to do is for them to be wary of what's being promised, because who knows? It does feel a little hopeful right now, but also, I mean, the other nice outcome is maybe it should be an acknowledgement of finishing high school as a group, instead of this, like, who are you going to go with? Is it going to be the love of your life? Is the night going to be the best night of your life? And maybe it could morph into something else, which leads me to another conversation about prom, which and promposals, which is, I'm sure, not popular.
Okay.
So I'm gonna just own the unpopular position.
Okay.
I find that girls in this generation have wisdom and insight and determination and grit and all of these things that we have fought for girls. And they are going out into the world thinking they can be and do whatever they want. And they're going to fight for equal pay and equal opportunity. And yet, promposal, I asked a few people, do you know any girl, not that asked a boy, because I think that does happen. And these are in heterosexual scenarios. So if it's same sex, one of them is going to ask the other one.
Right.
But in a boy-girl scenario, the boy does the promposal. So why is that our Disney story about romance still?
I think you just answered it.
No, but I don't even think Disney is Disney anymore. Like, Disney's fighting the stereotypes. Yeah. There's so much pressure to not fall into stereotypes. And yet, when we think about romantic, it somehow is still the guy asking the girl. And even that, like, there was a dating app, I think it was Bumble, that tried to...
Correct. It is Bumble.
Yeah, that tried to change the equation so that the woman...
puts the power in the woman's hand.
Yeah. I never hear about it. My girls aren't using it. Like,
I thought you were going to say, because I'm not using it. I'm like, well, you're kind of not supposed to.
No, I definitely am not using it. Well, except my husband wants to move to Santa Fe, and I told him he'd have to go with a different wife. So that would leave me needing somebody.
It doesn't mean you're using Bumble, because you might be just, maybe you just kind of do things alone for a while. So you still may not be using Bumble.
Maybe. But
the girls aren't. Your point is none of your girls are using it.
I have 3 girls who fight for equity, are very, very aware of gender stereotypes, fight against it. And yet, like, they didn't flip to that other model of dating either. So I don't know if that ever changes, or if our story is so embedded in how we see romance. Like, I mean, every movie where my heart stops, like, I'm so, like, invested in the outcome. It's always like this guy swooping this girl off her feet. So what does it look like if it was the girl doing it to the guy? And Maria agrees. Yay, Maria. Does anybody know of a story where a girl was bold enough and brave enough in today's culture to do not just an ask, but a promposal?
Yeah, that's funny. I'm trying to think if I've seen anything, but I'm laughing at, like, and again, it's so many years later, but, like, my current idea of romance is like an empty dishwasher, a running washing machine.
Yeah, so ask your kids if they feel that way.
Yeah, exactly.
Not so much.
Not at all.
That is a very long marriage that feels that way. Yeah.
Wait, I want to go back to something you said. You said you think this is unpopular. You prefaced what you said with you think it's unpopular. You think it's unpopular that your idea of that hasn't changed, or that it should change? Where were you going with that? Why did you say that?
I think we are still very, I can't think of a better word, but wedded to the notion of, this promposal. I mean, we even put pressure on our youngest when he was going, because we were like, what are you doing? What are you doing? As if that was the right thing to do. That was what being a good boyfriend looked like. And why couldn't it have been the girlfriend saying, I got this one, I'm taking this one. Yeah. And it just doesn't feel quite there yet. And maybe it's over time, or maybe that is just the narrative that will exist. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
Do you know any women who ask the men to marry them in heterosexual relationships?
No.
Like in my son's case, he and my son-in-law like planned the whole thing together, and then even picked which one of them was going to ask the other one, because they wanted. I mean, it was so funny. Like, they drove together to this beautiful location. My son was the asker. He planned the whole thing. But that was like, That was like a contractual proposal.
Maybe it should be.
Yeah.
Right?
I wanted that. That's what I wanted in my proposal. I wanted
Yeah.
the two of us to agree, like we're just getting married. Because why do you decide when we're ready? Just
Yeah, it's a very strange. Well, it's funny. I do bristle at. I've heard it. I have to think what conversations I've been in where they're like, "Oh, well, she's waiting for him to ask her," or she.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa.
No, that's totally normal.
No. I'm like, whoa, progress 0.
Yeah. I know. I don't know what
their particular relationship at all.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. It's just like these parallel stories happening, like fighting for equal pay, fighting for equal opportunity,
and
then waiting for someone else to decide that it's the right time for you two to get married.
Wow. I know.
It's really weird.
It could be another problem for me to solve laying in bed at like 3 a.m. tonight.
Oh my God. Well, when you solve it, please get back to all of us. Like, I mean, I think Bumble was the first step to saying we can flip this narrative, and it wouldn't even have to be always. Like, it's not it's not like it only works one way. Like we have to overcorrect. It's that why can't it be normal both ways? Like, why can't the guy feel flattered to be asked by a woman in the same way a girl feels flattered to be asked by a man? Like, it could be shared.
Yeah. It's so interesting. I wonder, do you have to make progress? And we're not making much progress on gender.
On this call, by the way.
Say it again.
On this Facebook Live, we're not making much progress.
Also true. No, but I'm saying if we're not making much progress in terms of, gender equity, is the other just like, I don't know. It's kind of like
I think we are making progress, not as much as this generation would like to see. They think it's too slow, but I see with my girls how they act in the world and how they feel about equal pay, sharing salary, because they feel like the only way you get equal pay is if people talk about what they're making. Like, I do think that they act differently in the world, certainly than I did. I mean, I was so naive.
No, that's totally true. I mean, the numbers don't, like, the latest numbers still are just so far behind, and just women exiting the workforce, like, and that's the pandemic, whatever, right? But
I mean, there's a bigger story around the pandemic affecting moms differently because someone needed to be the caregiver, and we still don't have, don't have any kind of other scenario. Other countries have other scenarios. So hopefully we'll move in that direction. But in terms of the woman, the high school girl asking the boy for prom in a promposal way, not in a like, hey, you want to go to the prom with me, and making it big. I still feel like that would be, when people say, oh, she's such a big personality, I feel like it would go along with that scenario. That kind of,
with you.
The kind of like dig of like, well, of course she did that,
Right. I know. Well, and I was thinking, like, just thinking about our teens, like, what is the message? Like, what do I, particularly our daughters, right? What do I want her to think about as she navigates relationships? Like, here Lori's chiming in.
Hey, Lori. Okay, Lori, we're going to share. Lori, I'm just happy for all the seniors that get their prom. Yep, so true. My senior does not. He never went to any prom. Sad for him to have missed that experience. Our school district does not allow. Oh, your school district has no prom at all, Lori? I kind of love that idea. I know it's not.
They never do, or you're saying because of COVID?
Oh.
I'm not sure what she.
He never went to any. I don't know. Lori, clarify for us, and we'll share it. But I think prom is so loaded, and how many people say it's the best night of their life?
Oh, none.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I could see why you would feel disappointed. I think if the prom pivoted to be more of a senior night, like same exact due to COVID.
Okay.
But
I liked what you were saying earlier, Sue. Like, I think that would be a fantastic. I mean, that was one of, like, I remember saying to Lane, like, before when the girls were kind of heading back to school in the winter, spring, and I said, it's very interesting. You look at like how kids navigate, like, through friendships and different things that happen during high school. And I said, I think you girls, like, when everyone comes back, I think there's going to be a really different feel, because you've had the benefit of everyone's had a lot of too much breathing room. And so maybe just appreciating each other for maybe the things that when they were in your face every day, or you just get too much of people, like, and I think that is what has happened. Like, I think there's a closeness that happened because of COVID, and not oh, I'm so glad COVID happened. That is not that rewrite. I'm just saying it was a natural reaction. And so I think there would have been a, I don't know. I'm curious what the reaction from the high schoolers would have been if, like, hey, we're changing it up because you haven't been together and we're going to do, would they feel like, oh, great, another thing they took away from me? Because it's different.
It has to be student driven on some level, like, where the kids say, this could be really fun if we shook it up a little bit.
Yeah.
And also, like, it does create a scenario where everybody can go without feeling uncomfortable if they don't have another, like, a person on their side, you know, which I know a lot of people do anyway. Like, my son's girlfriend is all excited to go and just hang with her friends and have it be a senior gathering.
Yeah.
So maybe it can change a little bit, but I think if the adults were to do it top down, that would really piss everyone off. Yeah.
Agreed.
Okay, Lori.
Apply that sentence to everything.
That's true. But I totally agree. And I just want to say, shout out to the Maltz Museum and Tamar and Milton Maltz for doing Stop the Hate. I got to interview the winners, the finalists and the winners. And if anyone has any doubt about the future with our kids, put them to rest. I never had a thought close to the depth of what these kids are thinking about in high school. It blew me away. And it actually, it is, by the way, on our Facebook page, if anyone wants to watch and be wowed by high school kids who really are just thinking about ways that they can repair the world. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, they really, it's funny. I was talking about that on the podcast I was on yesterday. So just talking about how they're incredible and they think so deeply. And I do love teens. I do. I think they're so interesting.
Yeah, even when they're ours.
Even when.
But I want to put out there for all of you listening, not always.
Not always. Wait a minute. Wait, that is the definition of duality. Man, they are awesome. And they sap the living everything out of me, right? Oh my God.
Okay, so everybody, have a great weekend in Cleveland, Ohio. The skies are as blue as they were in Santa Fe, which I swear before we got here. It is beautiful outside.
It is beautiful.
Yes. Hoping you're having great weather and a wonderful weekend. And thanks for joining us.
Bye, guys.